I can't believe it's already been a year since the last Groove Coaster DLC came, YY Party DLC came out. It felt like yesterday that I really was playing all the final 10 songs that came out, and I really wish I could relive that moment again. Getting all those perfects, finally being free from the three main songs that have been getting on my nerves during the final hours that this game was alive to me. If you're excluding active mode. So, the reason why I decided to make this commentary video all of a sudden is because I want to reminisce some of the things that I done with the Groove Coaster YY Party after a year of its end. So I want to kind of relive the moment where I first got the game and what I've been doing throughout the time I have been playing. It's kind of similar to the Project Diva video I made a, a month or two ago. So yeah, I honestly don't really have any plans on how I'm going to set this up. But it's more so going to be the backstory of this game, how it came to my life, and what I've been doing with it. Then, after I finish talking about that, which I'm sure is going to be a while, I'm going to talk about what am I doing now in terms of this game, and do I have anything to do with the game in the future. So, hopefully, I can try to keep up, and also hopefully my memory is well enough to know what happened between the time I played with this game. So, let's get started. Starting off with how I even found about Groove Coaster is I was with my nieces and nephews when we were going to the arcade, which was round one at the time. Now, it was the first time I've ever been to a round one. I was 13 years old, I believe. 13, 14. And when I tell you, I was really amazed to see the arcade games it offered. I wasn't too much of a arcade rhythm gamer, even from then, even now. But back then, I wasn't like too big on what games I really wanted to, what arcade games I really wanted to play. But anyways, at that time, I mentioned this in my Project Diva video that I actually I actually was there to play Project Diva Arcade. When I took a small break to look around at the arcade, I saw my niece playing this interesting game. I don't think I knew the title of it. I just know it was that game because of how fun it looked, to be honest. But I didn't pay too much attention to it. I was just a child. I just let her do her thing. I went back to playing Project Diva, yada yada. That's pretty much how I kind of first met Groove Coaster, but I wasn't formally introduced to that game to where I played it. So fast forward to about 2 years ago, with the same nieces and nephews, um, we went to round one again just to hang out. I was still this time I was more prepared to play any kind of Japanese rhythm game, arcade rhythm game they had to offer. Even though I only played like three, the main one I did play was Project Diva. The second game I played over there was DDR. The third is when I was actually playing Groove Coaster. I decided to try it out for the first time. I was mainly a Vocaloid fan at that time, so of course my first mindset was to go into the Vocaloid genre in Groove Coaster. Now, at the time when I was playing Groove Coaster, I believe it was either Groove Coaster 3 or Groove Coaster 3S. I didn't know which one it was. It was a long time ago. But yeah, that's that was my pretty much my actual first introduction to Groove Coaster. I didn't know any of the originals or all the other genres. I just played the Vocaloid pack. I was I was not good at it, of course. I mean, it's new territory, so how can I be good? Now, skipping a bit forward, I here and there I would when I would go to my niece and nephew's house for the summer, I would stumble upon Groove Coaster, but at the time I was just I was playing mostly DDR. I kind of got tired of Project Diva at the time. I picked up DDR for a while, then I kind of stopped when I once I started college. So then came the I guess around springtime or even before that of 2020. And I'm sure people who are still here today know what happened in spring of 2020 or even before that, where everybody was at home due to a certain thing that was happening outside. Is that still copyright? Is that still like censored on YouTube? I don't know. Who cares? I I remember being at home, really stuck, but even at home, I was still playing Project Diva on the PS4. But eventually, like I was getting tired of it because it felt like I was playing it every day, and I wanted to try something else. I did play a bit of DJ Mats. I remember that doesn't really help in any way. I I came to the realization that I suck at that game. I was good at what I was doing, but I grew out of it. So, fast forward to June. I mentioned this in the Project Diva video, but I I think the problem was when I was playing Project Diva was that I was playing the same thing over and over again. I was not playing any of the new content that happened around the time because the main reason is because I didn't have a Switch, and t- the only way to play those that new content is by getting a Switch. It was driving me crazy how many times I tried to look for a Switch online, but see that it's sold out. Everybody in the world wanted a Switch, and due to the certain thing that's been happening outside, they were barely they were barely making more for in stock due to everyone around the world being stuck inside. But eventually, I did get a Switch. I played Project Diva. That was the first game I got. Of course, I played other games on there, but of course, that had to wait for quite some time. And then here's where it really began for me. In July of 2020, it was time for me to get something that was on my wish list that I would thought I would just play here and there, but it turns out it had stuck with me for the longest time I've ever thought. So that was when I decided to buy Groove Coaster YY Party. I bought it. I bought it, waited for it to download, and then I played it. I played whatever it had to offer. Of course, me being new and a bit, albeit rusty, I had to get used to the control scheme. I did eventually pick up to where we can use buttons for slides because I feel like that was like one of the main roadblocks, but I eventually got used to it. And I was playing whatever songs came. I didn't buy any of the DLC because I didn't want to buy some and then not be and I didn't want to buy DLC for a game I may or may not be invested in yet. So it was all new to me. I played it. I don't know how much I played, but I did play it a lot day one, I'm pretty sure. I remember my biggest goal in doing so is getting full chains. I wasn't even going for perfects at the time. Oh, how young I was. No, that was like what? Almost 6 years ago. How young and naive. I I eventually did get all full chains on every single song on master difficulty. Of course, there were some that were very troublesome, and if I remember correctly, the one song I really had trouble with was Jack the Ripper. In my opinion, at the time, that was before I bought any of the DLC, that was the hardest song I've ever done. I eventually got it, then it was, and then sometime later, it was time for me to buy my first DLC pack, and because I was familiar with this certain pack I looked at first, I bought the Lanoda pack. I remember I remember being very interested in that game on my phone back then. I did play it, the songs were nice, and I decided to just buy it for the hell of it. I played it. I didn't expect it to be as hard as I thought it was. I mean, it is still pretty hard considering how considering this difficulty. And uh, I like with the base game, I only went for full chains. Now, throughout that time and then my second year of college, which was of August of 2020 through I want to say February of 2021. I don't remember the exact dates. I started caring a little bit about perfects, but those it was mostly for songs that I really like. There was 115 that I liked at the time that I wanted as my first perfect, and I did get it. I was kind of happy, I'll be honest. Let's backtrack a bit. Sorry. In October, they, I remember in the group coaster community, which I was very new to, people were making big deal about original pack 2 because there was one song that came out which at the time became the hardest song in Group Coaster, which was the Switch's first boss song. I'm sure you all know which one that is. I have a hard time pronouncing it, so I won't attempt it. But if you look at original pack 2, you know what it is. So when I played that, I was like, wow, I can't believe that the difficulty really spiked up. Like I actually was having trouble, but then again, I was going for full chains, and at the heat of the moment, I feel like a full chain wasn't like a worthy achievement. I eventually had noticed that, like throughout my journey, which I'll get into. So now that we got that out of the way, around the time I was only buying like as much DLC as I can, like which ones I find interesting. So I just did that, and then also remember on the side I was playing Project Diva's Mix mode. I won't get into that though, but between the that month, I was just playing Groove Coaster pretty much as my main game at this point. Just going for full chains and then improving scores. It did not feel like I was getting perfects, however, because I feel like with how my timing is with the game, it just didn't feel right. In March of 2020, I remember Original Pack 3 came out with three new Switch Boss songs. Uh, Again, I was just like, wow, like they're really treating Switch with something with more content. That is, it it felt like no matter how many times I no matter how many times I try to go, I feel like I'm gonna hit a roadblock eventually. This wasn't the start of it, however. Of course, I just played for its full chain. I did have my troubles with one of those songs, and I eventually got it. I was like, I'm free. I can just stop with the game. Stop with it for now. Then I guess either in the middle or the end of March. I forgot when, but I remember I had my biggest payday I've ever had. So what I did with that money was I bought all the DLC I had left to buy. I bought 6 packs. All of them together equaled about $100. I believe around $100. I believe. I didn't care though. This game had now became serious to me at this point to where I want to play the other stuff. So I did, I did whatever it is I normally do, full chains, whatever, and yeah, I kind of took a break from that there. So it was fun. And April was when it was about the time where uh, my college exams were finals were starting. So while I did play a little as much as I could, I still had to study. But around that time, I remember, which when I had the weekend as my free time, I decided to actually go for the lower difficulties. And what I mean by that is going for perfects. I just went I just went through the list of like all songs that I wanted to play first. Actually no, that's not true. I remember just going down the list. Like first the base game and then whatever DLC I chose to do. There were ones I had trouble with, but like I said, I got through it. I didn't go for hard, and even at the time, I didn't really go for master because I I didn't really feel like it. I just didn't. At least until after a couple of months. So after my finals, I picked up the game again and got it more serious. I just went through the song list to see what couldn't be can be done. So I this time I don't know the exact day. It was just during the summer after college was over for the semester. I decided to go play hard, play get all perfects on hard. I don't know, I don't know exactly what motivated me to do so, but I was like, let's just do it. I played through it. I know I had trouble with the 14s, and when I finally got them all, I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm pretty much almost done with the game, but I went maybe like halfway because I didn't play active mode as much as I as much as I would have. Anyways, in June of 2021 was when the Archaea pack came out. And oh boy, did that give me some pretty bad memories. I struggled a lot with pretty much all the songs, and if you don't count easy, normal, and hard, Master was getting so troublesome, especially with the one song I had trouble keeping up with. I I I remember grinding that certain song for like 4 hours under like I don't know how much sleep I had, but it was very little sleep. And when I finally got it, I was like, I'm free. taking a I'm taking a big ass nap. So that pretty much kind of set to where I stand in Groove Coaster. I felt like it was impossible for me to get a perfect on that song, so I just left it. Improvement was still there, but perfect, I didn't think too much of it. Now, in July was the 10th anniversary of Groove Coaster, so they celebrated that across all working versions, which was arcade, mobile, and Switch. And because I was a Switch player, I that's the only option I had. I played that. The songs, I mean, not it's not that I didn't have trouble. It was just it felt a little bit easier than the Archaea pack. Of course, I didn't go for perfects, but um, I did get through. I did get through them. I don't remember if that was like the time I actually completed easy through hard, but I might be remembering wrong. That's not important though. I also remember I think it was in the beginning of August. I got I remember grinding one of the hardest Switch songs in there for a perfect because I honestly don't know what motivated me to do so. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. I played for like an hour, and I actually got it. I was actually so happy because it was like the hardest thing I've ever done. I made it a big deal to myself. It was like, man, I don't know if I should keep going or what like for other perfects, but I didn't because I I was trying to prepare for the new school year. So I did whatever I could. I started doing some cleanup perfects to ones I feel like I can do. That was like through honestly that I feel like I started that on February of 2021, but I don't. I like I said, my memory is very whack. I also in August one of the most I guess to give some more like back more like in-depth backstory, but one of the saddest thing has ever happened to me. It was at the end of August, heading towards September, but my state was struck with a hurricane. We had to evacuate. we couldn't take our chance. We didn't want to take our chances with the storm, so we had to get out the state for like 2 weeks. I remember hearing the news from my mom's brother, my uncle, saying that our house was really messed up, and my room, which was all the way in the back, took it the hardest. My roof collapsed. Well, was it a roof? I think it was more the ceiling, but it was a lot of stuff that fell from the ceiling. Of course, I was devastated. I mean, I had my Switch at the time, but I I felt like I lost everything in that room. All the great memories I had. My what? My clothes, my PS4, all my other consoles I had in there too. I did lose those. Well, no, I didn't lose my PS4. I lost everything else though. The um yeah, and out although I mean, it's not like everything was like too bad. When once I visited the house after everything cleared up at home at my state, I did get to recover some stuff like my albums and all. My clothes, yeah, my clothes they were already like to a point where it was kind of moldy. Not like a lot, but I could tell. I was like, nah, there's no point. There's no point in me keeping it. But all the consoles I did have, aside from my PS4, they were long gone. They were, I couldn't. The wires were pretty much all messed up, and I did have a console that stayed on the floor because I had no room. So, really, all I had now as my main source of gaming was my Switch and a bit of my PS4. But I was kind of done with the PS4 at the time, so it really did not bother me. It really did not bother me too much. I just had my Switch, and I just stuck. I just decided to play it more from now on. But if we take all that aside, one of the things that had helped me get through it was Groove Coaster, YY Party. I I needed to get my mind off of it, so I started to play it a bit more than usual. I I felt a little happy, I'll admit. And once we were still moving around to places where since we didn't have a house anymore, I just kept doing whatever it is to keep me sane. And albeit, that's when, because of that, that's when my motivation really started to get a lot of perfects for this game. I, no matter where I play, whenever I had the opportunity, even while I was at, even while I was doing classes, online classes that is, I was just playing. I was just trying to go for Groove Coaster stuff. And fast forward to whatever. In November, I I remember when I got my Jack the Ripper perfect. That's a whole different story to like why I decided to go for it. But when I got that, I now felt like I could do whatever I can with this game. The possibilities are endless. I want to see how far I could go. And at the time, only the latest pack to ever come out was the D4DJ one. I played that. I went for whatever perfects I had left over. And by the time a certain thing that happened in December of 2022, was it? No, 2021, sorry. 2021 hit. I got as much perfects as I can in on Master. It felt like some of them were impossible to do because I just didn't set my mind to it because I was just focused on getting all the other ones. I um and so I whatever I had to do, I just stopped from there. Then when the big update came out, my motivation pretty much picked back up. The original Pack 5 came out, online update came out. It was pretty much a big deal at the time. I remember playing online a lot. I was I was I do remember meeting up with a lot of other top players too. I remember this one instance where we picked picked one of the hardest songs, like all four of us, and it was hilarious because like how do we all have the same mindset? But yeah, I just did whatever. I grinded the hell out of original Pack 5. There were some troublesome ones. And then after that I took a little break because it was Christmas time, of course. I spent time with my family, and when I had the free time I picked up Group Coaster and just did whatever I had left. And what I had left were a lot of 15s. I didn't remember how much, and they were the more troublesome 15s. I put I played them all one by one, grinded whatever was easy first, and then went to the hardest. I remember having too much trouble with Fujin Rumble because keeping up with that spam was so annoying. Like I don't know when to hit the buttons correctly, and no matter how much I tried it correctly, I felt like I was already losing my stamina. But anyways, one by one, I got through every 15, and then now came the final one. And the final one that I did at the time to complete all difficulty on standard mode was Grievous Lady. I kept that one for last because it was definitely the most troublesome song I did when the Archaea pack came out. I didn't know how much that last bit was gonna keep me from getting it because of how fast it really is at that BPM. But eventually, I got it. I was so relieved. I was so happy. I was like, it's finally done. I needed a rest from that game, and I was I was so happy. I was one of at the time. I think it was like two other people who had done the same achievement, and I was glad to be one of them. I didn't know honestly. I didn't know how I was able to get through all of that, but that didn't matter. I did it, and I needed a break. Around January of 2022, I that was another time for me to actually start worrying about active mode because I while it is a forgotten mode that people don't seem to care about, I feel like as someone who has already done mass on standard, I wanted to complete one more thing. So the game wasn't over for me, that was. So I decided to just go for it. I I remember doing the base game first, like I don't know when, but I guess that was just when when I was going for like the other perfect, but like I said, I don't know when I actually did it. So all I had left was the DLC. It was gonna be a while. I'll Man, I just chose a pack that I decided I didn't want to go in order because I felt like I'd be too bored. So I just chose a pack and just went with it. I just what my plan was for doing so was I either choose 3 or 4 packs a day. I play I play one pack for like an hour for who knows how long until I could get all the perfect. Then wait a couple of hours to rest. Move on to the next pack. Rest. Move on to the next pack. Rest, and then move on to the next pack. And then after I finish my 4, I just have to wait till tomorrow. That was pretty much my pattern. And at the time, the latest pack to come out was Hit Song 3. Whichever one had Kai Butsu. I'm sure it was 3. So I did that, and then I think it was in the middle of February or near the end, but I finished all of Active. There were some songs that kept me trouble, but for the most part, since I was familiar with all the songs, it was easy. So I was done with that mode. The last pack I had to do was whichever one had Kai Butsu. But yeah, I was like, wow. I mean, that did not take as long as I thought, because I had a plan on how I wanted to approach it. I just did whatever. I just did what packs I wanted. Wait a couple of hours and wait a day, and then I got it all. I was like, wow, I can't believe I actually got through it. So I got both modes, and at the time I didn't know. I only knew like one person who had gotten that achievement. I'm sure there was two, but I don't. My memory's not great. So yeah, I was done. So now I just have to wait for new packs to come out. I I won't get into like too much trouble on how much I have with each pack. I think I'm just gonna start with when I think I'm just gonna start with a couple of packs I want to highlight. So the next pack to come out was original pack 6. That one was pretty much the start, in my opinion, to the increase in difficulty of YY Party. Because I remember when I played one song on Master, I actually failed it. Yeah, I was surprised because I was like, dang, what the hell did I just play? Like, that was just so tiring. So, whatever I did, I just played along. I don't care how long. I didn't care how long it was gonna take. I got it. And then there was one other song that was giving me trouble. I remember spending all night trying to get it, but it was like what 3 or 4 a.m. I just couldn't get it. I was so exhausted. So I was like, I guess I'll wait till tomorrow. I was kind of disappointed that night. I kind of wanted to get it day one, but that wasn't gonna happen. So I had to sleep through it. I remember. I remember the next day I woke up, still super tired. By the way, I was like, okay, let's get it. So I played it for like 30 minutes, I believe. I finally got it. It was it was too bad though. I really wanted to celebrate, but the place I was staying at, um, it was at my sister's, but pretty much, I pretty much had a roommate still, but he was next door. I didn't want to be too loud, so I just had to celebrate in silence. I was happy though. I wish I would have like screamed my lungs out. Anyways, I finally got it. I was done. I wanted to get out. I did that. I played active mode, and I was like, "That's it." Like now we wait for the next pack. Um, I won't. I won't highlight too much of the next pack. It was pretty simple for the most part. For the next pack, for the pack after, which was Toho 5, that's where I was grinding the hell out of the one song everyone had trouble with at the time, Feast of the Boundary. With its very fast BPM and then its complex patterns that just appeared out of nowhere, that became my biggest gripe. However, what while I was just going for any like random grind, somehow I was way too focused to where I actually got through the pattern like very out of nowhere. I remember that because that was one of the songs I was like, I'm just gonna play it a couple of times and see how I do. But I never thought of like actually getting a perfect. So when I actually got the perfect, it was the most unexpected perfect I've ever gotten. It was the one thing that sucked when I did it is that I wasn't recording. I was like, dang, like the one time I don't record, like I actually get this. I was like, what the hell? But either way, I was just gonna take it because I didn't want to go back to having I didn't want to go back and then having trouble with trying to do it. Yeah, so it was like I may as well just take it now and then maybe I'll retry it some other day because if I left that like with like one cool, I don't know how many cools I had, probably like 10. But if I left it like that, I probably regret it because who's to say that if I were ever going to get a perfect on that again, you know? So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just take it. Maybe some other day I'll try again. And then I just went for the other perfects. Fast forward to like June, the end of June. I was like, why don't I just go for it again? I remember streaming it. I don't remember how long I was streaming it, but that day I actually got it on stream. I took the recording and then uploaded it to YouTube. I was like, yes, I actually got it on video. Like I was definitely prepared for it too. That was the thing. Like compared to my first time getting a perfect, I was definitely prepared. Now, this one I have talked about it before on another video. I'm sure y'all are able to find it if y'all care, but I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about. I It is the easy to unpack, but I've already talked about it, so I'm not gonna say it again. So let's move on. Sorry, but the pack after that, I won't talk too much about it. It's not. It wasn't too hard. The Vocaloid pack. I mean, there were two hard songs, but I felt like I got through it with a breeze. It wasn't like hard. The pack after that, however, wow. There was just the one song that was pretty much the roadblock to what was to getting me getting all perfects. I I remember at the same week was when the final Roof Coaster Arcade song was coming out, and while everyone was making such a big deal with that, I I just decided to stick with um DLC, the Chrono Circle Tetote DLC, because I mean that was the only Groove Coaster I actually cared about. So I I just decided to play that while everyone was making a big deal, even though it was a big deal, out of got a overscore. So I remember on a Saturday morning, it was like after Thanksgiving, like 2 days after Thanksgiving. It was time for me to play it because it was the final one I had. I decided to stream it because I was like, oh, I have nothing else to do. I wanted to see how long it'll take me. I got a couple. I was playing it here or there. I was making mistakes. Then about like an hour and a half in, I finally got it. I was like, oh my god, like I was mentally prepared for it, but it was like at the same time I was like, wow, who knew I'd actually get it? And then after that, decide to rest and then go for the go for act. I don't think I did active the same day, but not important. More things to highlight. There was the update in December, but not important. Okay, another one to highlight, which was another pretty hard DLC pack. Original Pack 7. This was when. How many songs were there? Five. Yeah, five new originals came out, and I kind of already knew that it wasn't going to come to arcade, so. Now, there were pretty much two boss songs, if you don't count, like, the other 15s that were in that pack. One of them I decided to go first because it was like, wow, that song's pretty good. I'm gonna go for it. But one of the songs, oh my god, that this song gave me. It still pretty much gives me PTSD. But I remember grinding the first time. I was like, okay, I got a full chain. I understand the pattern. But the problem was with that song is that I was not fast enough. Like, it felt like I was having more trouble with the beginning more than any other part. And it was driving me insane how many times I was grinding that song. Like, any moment I tried to grind it, I was like, I'm not improving, and it was just making me sad. So I was like, you know what? I mean, I feel like I should take a break from this game because I feel like at this point it's not worth my sanity. I mean, nothing's really worth my sanity, but it's just like at the heat of the moment, I was already hooked on with this game. And dare I say that this song took longer than Kamui. It actually did too. It took me from release date to a Monday. So yeah, I was grinding it that much, and throughout those days, I was getting nowhere. One of those days, I got one cool, and I was stuck with it for who knows how long. But on that faithful Monday, I finally got it. I screamed to hell. I didn't care if my neighbors heard me. I was done. Like, I was free from the song. I wanted to get out of there so bad. Uh, I was I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm this this song can go to hell. It was so much so much trouble for what it was. Uh anyways, anything else to highlight? For the next pack, not really. I mean, there are 15, but it's not like it was as troublesome as the ones I've dealt with. So next pack, and that happened in March of 2023, was the first Hololive pack. And the one of the reasons I decided to highlight it is because that pack was the first to have an anime slash pops pack, Master 15. It was the first 15 in that genre throughout all the Groove Coaster series. Like, there was no 15 of that in the arcade version, so YY Party was the first. That's pretty much the only thing I want to highlight. I'll be honest, it wasn't as hard as I remember, so we'll skip past that. Toho Pack, was it 6? Fuck. No, it was 7. I think I messed up the other thing. No, it was 8. God damn. Yeah, I messed up the other one. But, yeah. But Toho Pack 8 was when they introduced the Say Racing remixes. There were a couple of good ones. One of the songs I'm definitely highlighting was, well, put it ironically, is Toho Say Racing. I don't know why they decided to name it the same as the game, but it has different kanji. I know that. But one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight it is because it is the. Let me think. How much was there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's the 8th remix. I mean 8th series, 8th song of the Toho Maru series. And I was surprised because while I was really familiar with that series as a whole, I still was surprised to see how they were continuing with it somehow. And when they added that song and it was gonna be my Masaki, I was like, oh no, I know it's gonna have a lot of 24s. Even listening to the preview for the first time in one of the live streams they made, I was like, "Yep, we're gonna have a fun time." One of the things I do like to highlight from that again was that, to I guess it's just a brag, I was the first person to get the perfect on it. I I spent that's the same day I spent I just spent all day on it. It was like past midnight, and I don't know how long it was past midnight, but when I got it, I was like, yes, because there was really only one part I had trouble with, and it was pretty much the long 24s at the end. I was like, dang, like I cannot get that correctly. Like I was either going too fast or I was going too slow. So yeah, I was so happy to finally get that because I mean, it wasn't as hard as other songs that I played in the past, but it was driving me insane, I'll admit. Now, I would like to highlight. There were a couple of songs in the Nets pack, which was the Chrono Circle Music Diver pack. It is. There's one that's expected and one that's unexpected. So, one that people expect is Metaverse. Yeah, Metaverse. I remember people were just saying like it was like such a hard song, and in my honest opinion, the only reason why it was just hard is because of the 30 seconds. Like, yeah, the patterns were just complex, but I feel like if you're not fast enough to handle 30 seconds, then I'm sure you're not gonna have a fun time. So now we move on to one of the songs that's unexpected that I found troublesome to me, that I found troublesome, and this is all opinionated, was Midnight Scramble. I guess I just had trouble reading slides as a whole. I mean, a lot of people were saying that was like the easiest 15, which, in my opinion, in the pack, which in my opinion it really isn't. But I was like, dang, like how come I'm the one having trouble with this one? And who said this was the easiest? So yeah, it did take me some time to get used to all the slides that were happening, but I got it. I can see why it was a 15 though. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not an easy 15. No highlight. Yeah, there's just a lot of packs I want to highlight. I looking back at it now. So I'm just gonna put these two together, which is the Mai Mai and Ongeki packs, and the Hardcore Tanoshi pack. Yeah, when those became like a big deal too, when the 15s really kicked ass for the Mai Mai pack, and then for Hardcore Tanoshi, honestly, I thought all of the songs would be 15, but it did not become a big deal as I thought. And I remember at the time when the My My pack came out, Garakuda and Don't Fight the Music came out as free songs. So, for there are about two songs in each pack I'd like to highlight, and I'm gonna explain them all. I'm gonna just sum it up to one word: torture. And the reason why I say that is because, for the most part, speed was an issue. I mean, technically for speed, it was pretty much just like three songs that had that issue, but yeah, speed was kind of like my main issue. Patterns, yeah, you can put that along with that category, but that depends on how you read the patterns. And one more thing, and it's just the one song that I highlight, but I like to consider it a troll. It was just very unexpected how they decided to go with that. Considering it is the hardest song, and that in the game it came from, I was it just became a joke to me to how much how much effort they actually decided to do for that part of the song. But I'm not complaining. I found that I honestly don't think it's as hard as people say it is, but it's still something I want to highlight because it is still hard. Um, book December, no. January, not really. Though I'll admit the January pack, it's pretty fun for what it is, even though I never really played the games. Original pack 8 is what is known as the Arcade Memorial. There's a lot of classics, and then the three new songs were just songs from the group Anthem Party album, which are remixes of classic or remixes of original songs, to put it that way. I guess, I mean, I feel like the song I want to highlight, it's just not really a big deal considering like it's just pretty much the original but with 24s. I mean, not to say that that's a issue, but that's the only way I can describe it. So I don't think I'm gonna talk too much about that. And April, nothing to highlight. I feel like there's just a lot not to highlight when it comes to the recent DLC packs that came. I think that for the final ones I'm going to talk about, they're all going to have highlights. So, August, Chunitum. There really was just one song. Actually, no, I'm counting two because one of them is harder than it looks. But one of them I want to talk about is the snowman one. Yeah, that one took criticals to a whole new level. I mean, it it's not hard to clear, but if you have to play a very certain way to keep up with the pattern because you're hitting criticals like every second. So, and then speed is also an issue. It's like really fast considering the song, but I feel like that's the only thing I highlight. It is hard, and I think criticals and spams are gonna be a big issue. Now, is here's one that I want to talk about that's harder than it looks. It's what is this song? But it's I like to call this one the troll song, considering what the patterns do to you. This is only specified in the master chart because all the other difficulties are just simplified. But for the master chart, when you get to the ending, it's like a whole like it's not like something you can clear on the first try unless you're like really good. Cause for me, I failed a 14. I was like, what the hell did I just read? Because there was just no way for me to get that on the spot. So yeah, there was other patterns that I considered very hard with that song, but I was like, wow, what the hell? What just happened? And I'll admit that that was one of the more troublesome perfects I ever gotten, but I got it. That's pretty much all I wanted to discuss for that. Now, for the third, wait, what was I gonna say? Like the third to last pack, the Toho, I think it's Toho 9. Yeah, Toho Pack 9. The only thing I shall highlight is Calamity Fortune, but for the most part, it was pretty easy. Because all it is pretty much just spam and slide patterns. I feel like there's nothing too hard about it. There's there's no reason for you not to clear it. I mean, if you want to go for it, then go for it. But I say for the most part, it's simple because all it really is just spam at like 200 BPM. Now the second to last original pack 9. Uh, yeah, we were getting close to the end, but there's only one song I'd like to highlight, which is what's the English name? It's the Chameleon one, like something beast. Yeah, that one. Considering we have played through the Snowman one in Chinathem, Kamui, Future vs. the Clock, I guess you can put that in the category. Influencer, Ayolos, and what's the other one? The Miracle Pop Adventure. You would think after playing through all of that, speed you'd be better with speed. But no, when that song came out, I was having so much trouble keeping up. And of course the patterns were still hard. I think one of the key factors I want to point out when playing that song is that I had the flu when I played that game. When I played that song, like I was, I wasn't, I was skin. It was the start of my fever. I didn't get the fever until like after. But when I played that for 2 hours trying to get. I just tried to go straight for the perfect because I felt like I was like, okay, I can probably get it because I gotta do it before I start losing my mind again. It took me 2.5 hours to get it. I was like, oh wow, I get it. And when I fell back asleep, just the rest of it, that's when my fever kicked in. I was like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't play any other songs, as I would have a horrible time. Yeah, I remember that being a big deal. A lot of people were surprised, like, wow, what the hell? That's the highest chain I've ever seen. But it has not been commonly, unfortunately. And now we head on to the final pack. It's well, I don't know why I sound disappointed, but I'm not disappointed. But that is original pack 10, the final boss. Now, I would normally want to highlight all of it, but to save time, I'm just gonna highlight the three main ones. And I'm gonna go by the one I perfected first, and then so on. So the one I perfected first out of those three was Kite Sith Carnival with 290 BPM and a lot, and it is a triplet chart. Wow, I can't believe how fast that song went. I felt like I was having so much trouble keeping up with the speed every time I got to the end. It was like, man, like my arms are getting so tired. I just want it to be over. And that was my main gripe, was that ending, because it was just that hard. There's a lot of in that BPM there are 12s, and then there's 16s, but the 16s are such a pain. It's like, wow, like they really wanted to kill us with this final pack. So I finally got it. I was like, man, I wonder how the other songs are gonna be. And that isn't to say I haven't tried it beforehand, but let's keep going. The second song I did was Athena, and man, you would think for the lowest BPM in the pack, it would be simple. Like maybe there'll be complex patterns here and there, but no. Every single part of that song are complex patterns, and it's so hard to keep up because there's 16s, 24s, and 30 seconds. I was surprised to see that. I mean, hearing it firsthand, you wouldn't think there's that, like, that kind of a, those kinds of beats in the game. In the song, I mean, sorry. But after playing it, I was like, damn, what the hell was that? Like, I you I didn't even consider hearing those beats happening, but they're there. It's just very hidden. Yeah, that one gave me some trouble because, in all honesty, the second half of the song was mostly 30 seconds, and I hate 30 seconds in such a moderate BPM. Like, it's just way too fast. And don't even get me started on the final spam where it requires you to hit so fast and then so slow, and then once it stops, you're free. That was the most troublesome one. Oh, not sorry. Excuse that last comment, but that was very troublesome because, in all honesty, I thought that would be the easiest of the three. But no, I more so had trouble with that one more than Kite Sith Carnival. But I finally got it. I was relieved to get it. So yeah, the final song to that I've gotten to where I spent a lot of time grinding was Ama. And when you mash Topaz Elite and Masaki together, it's a real nightmare. Not even a couple of seconds in before you get to the first verse, I guess you can call it. I don't know what you call it for instrumentals. You're already hit with a big spam. That's those are, is it 12 notes? Yeah, I'm sure those are 12 notes. Yeah. It it's so it was like wow, like they're already hitting you with that. Like there's no preparation, it's just there. I'll be and then throughout the entire song, there are a lot of 16th notes. And for 256 BPM, that's really fast. I and then once you get to the I think it's the last ad lib actually. Yeah, the last after the last ad lib, you're hit with the death spam. It's like dang, like you have to have like really fast thumbs to actually get through that consistently. And after you get through that, here comes what I call the Soflan part because it does start off a bit slow and then it really picks up. It's like, oh my god, like how are you supposed to do that consistently? Because once you make one mistake, it's hard to get back. And I'll say that about every part of this song, but that part in particular, like one you're so far ahead, you're afraid of messing up. And once you mess up, it's game over. So my time with this song is the moment I started really grinding it, it was I think it was about like 6 o'clock in the afternoon that one day, fateful day. I spent from that time to like 3 a.m. I want to say. Not 3 a.m. because I probably would have been too tired when I did that. But around midnight, just no, it was around midnight. I'll tell you this: throughout one of those runs, I didn't even notice there was a cool. So I was pissed. I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" So no, I don't know how long that was, but how long during my session was. I was like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it let me go through this and I didn't even see it. But so I was like, I'm just gonna try again the next day. I took some sleep and I actually woke up pretty early to do this. I remember. And when I warmed up for like 10 to 15 minutes, then about 30 minutes after my warm up, I got I got through the run. When I finally got through it, let me tell you, I wanted to scream so loud, but because I'm a considerate person and all my neighbors were around me still sleeping, I had to control myself. the if you saw the video, I said, "Oh my god," so many times. Just trying to process like all of that happening. Like I finally did it. It's finally over. I if I could relive that day, I could. But man, was I so happy to finally get it. This this song, I'll I spent how many hours on it? I'll say even altogether, I I spent it I spent more time on this than Influencer. So from the day of its release to a Sunday morning, I finally got Ama, which was the final song in standard mode I had to get. And then after that, I took my screenshot, I up I edited the video, and then decided to just rest for today. I rest for a couple more hours. Then once I woke up, it was time for me to do the final thing of this game, active mode. I played through all of active mode. The final song I decided to do was "Got It Overscore." It's more fitting, you know, especially for how that song was represented in arcade. I decided to do the same thing for YY Party. I so on I remember the exact date on March 30th, 2025. It was the final time I got perfect on all songs, all modes, all difficulties, and Groove Coaster YY Party. This game really stuck with me for a long, long time. Did I expect it to stick around with me that long? No. I thought this was just going to be a game where I would play more on the side in case I needed a break from any other game I would play. But no, this somehow became my main game. And I was like, wow, I can't believe I made it through the end. Yeah. Looking back at it now, I, I, yeah, I wish I can relive some of those moments where I got those perfects again. Because around the time when Arcade announces his online service shutting down, or just a regular service, I did notice that even like Groove Coaster as a whole began to die down. I mean, with the arcade ending, mobile not getting as much updates before their online service end, and then YY Party getting less DLC throughout the year, I I knew something was gonna go. I knew something was happening with the game to where I feel like it was not going to keep up anymore. So when they announced Groove Coaster Future Performers, and then alongside they announced this pack, I was like, well, this is it. I can't believe we're gonna get through this one final time. So I just have to prepare myself and hope for the best. So now that we covered all of that, let's discuss the next topic. I'm really hoping I didn't leave anything out throughout my backstory. Even if I did, I'm sure it wasn't too important. So, what am I doing now with this game? In all honesty, nothing. I don't recall a time where I decided to go back to this game and try playing any other song again because I pretty much did what I needed to do. I got all perfects on all modes, all difficulties. I played all the challenges to where you just unlock titles. And playing online is no help. You barely find anyone, especially during my time zone. So yeah, I haven't been doing anything with the game that's been with me for a long time now. For almost 6 years of playing this game, it it kind of ended off in a. I did end it off in a high note, but it just felt like I could do more. There was more potential, but once, yeah, once it was all over, there was nothing. There was nothing else for me to do. I'm. I know what YY Party there is online mode, but I'll be honest. I'm not. I don't do a lot of those rank stuff as much because honestly, it's already too much of a grind doing all that. So, I mean, this game will forever hold a place in my heart. It's been with me through my tough times. It, it even, albeit it was the reason why I gave up on Project Diva, which I don't regret. So, but I love, I love Groove Coaster, the old, the old generation Groove Coaster that is, and this is part of it because it has that same layout. I love it to death. I loved it then, I love it now, and forever will. I just don't have anything I want to do with this game, but there is something I do want to do, but I gotta see how my future goes because there's just so much going on with me that I just don't have the motivation to do stuff. But I'll get into that later. When it when it came to YY Party, it was pretty much a more accessible groove coaster for me. I I didn't have an arcade around me to go to that had groove coaster. Mobile, I didn't really care too much about it. It's more so it's because it's like a free to play and then pay and then you pay afterwards. So I feel like it was just a lost cause for me. I mean, I know it would have been worth the money, even though I did get all the packs. But even then, I just couldn't get myself to fully immerse in that version of the game. I guess it's just because I'm not a I'm not a mobile rhythm gamer, so that kind of just killed my move on playing that version of Groove Coaster. And don't even get me started on the Steam version. But YY Party, the the only accessible Groove Coaster I had, it started off as something I just wanted to play for the fun of it, but eventually it became a real big part of my life, and I don't regret it. I am happy that I've been I'm very happy that this game was good when it was, and unfortunately, good things come to an end. It gave me so much things to learn. I learned how to dual weld better, and more importantly, I it introduced me to a lot of great songs. There were good ones, there were bad ones, but for the most part, I loved it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I how what I'm doing with Groove Coaster. Just I guess I'm just rolling with it. Like if I ever decide to play again, like well, I mean I do play every once and then, but it's like I just play two songs and I'm done. There's really, like I said, there's really nothing else for me to do. But yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about is what do I want to do with this game in the future? Well, like I said, with everything that's been going on, I have a lot of stuff to do. I wanna, I want to, I had planned on doing this for like a long time, but it just would never be set right due to my schedule and my unmotivation. But I want to record videos for active mode. And that what I mean by that is I want to record all the songs only on hard difficulty because I probably go insane trying to replay the whole playing all the other difficulties again. I just want to go for hard difficulty at the moment. One of the reasons why I had that plan in motion is because this mode is very underrated. You don't see a lot of footage on YouTube or anywhere else. It's just one of those obsolete modes that where it's just, it's just there. Like you don't see anyone really making a big deal out of active mode. I mean, I know I don't make it a big deal either because all people all people only care about is standard mode, but I want to make I want to one day make it possible for me to record all of them. Take the time to sorry. Take the time to go back through all the songs, play them again, and relearn all the active mode stuff. I mean, not that it's hard to not pick up. Not that it's hard to pick up. But yeah, that was one of the plans I had, but unfortunately, time is never on my side. Yeah, that's pretty much what I want to do with this game. I don't know when I want to set that goal in motion, but it is on my mind. I want to take the time to do all of this because I feel like it's worth preserving preserving that mode for what it is. It is a fun mode, but it's not a mode that I would normally go back to whenever I go back to this game. So once I decide to do so, just expect a lot of videos from my channel. I'm not gonna make. I had plans on putting it on another channel, but I don't think it's really worth it. I feel like since I'm a part of a group of Groove Coaster, I may as well just put it on my channel. So yeah. So hopefully, I could find a time to do so. So hopefully stay tuned. I don't know how the upload schedule would look like considering there are 600 songs I gotta go through, but I'll work it out. I'll work it out. So yeah, that's all I have for this talk. It has been 1 year since the final DLC pack came out. To end it all off, I do enjoy Groove Coaster till this day, and I guess just to put it out there, my opinion has changed on Groove Coaster Future Performers. I still don't think it's a good game, but I mean, if it's gonna be there, I'm gonna try to make the most out of it. That isn't to say that I'll be on the game a lot. It's just I just find it a bit more tolerable that we're even getting Groove Coaster content now. So yeah. Anything else to talk about? Not really. For those who have known me for Groove Coaster for a long time, this game will forever hold a place in my heart. And I'm so happy that it's been a part of me for almost 6 years now. And I kind of hope for the best for this game now. I'm, yeah, I don't have any other comment on that. So that's about it. Thank you for listening. I know this is pretty long. I of course I kind of expected the backstory to be a bit long, considering I have a lot of memories with it. So yeah, thank you all for listening, and I'll catch y'all another time I want to talk about something. So goodbye.